Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Bao Podcast. Today, we're joined by someone who doesn't just work in the world of systems change, she's actively helping build the structures for a more sustainable and fair economy. Our guest today is Noor Huitema, a co-founder of Copper8, a mission-driven consultancy that helps organizations rethink value, governance, governance and collaboration. Noor brings a unique background in sustainable construction, and she's passionate about turning bold ideas into practical change. Not just by tweaking the system, but by transforming it from the inside out. With a strong belief in long-term thinking, true collaboration, and purpose-led leadership, she and her team have helped organizations across sectors move towards circular value-based strategies. We're looking forward to diving into her vision, her work, and what it really takes to lead systemic change. Welcome, Noor. Great to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you, Benjamin. I'm doing fine, and I'm a little bit, what can I say? Moved by all the nice introduction you did. So I'm just wondering what I did in the last couple of years.
um, uh, okay, yeah, we always try to give the most thorough background possible on our guests so that the audience know who they're gonna listen to. Um, so, Noor, maybe let's start at the very beginning. Based on the description, I see you have a very strong motivation to work in sustainability and systemic change. Where do you think that comes from?
I studied civil engineering in Delft, and I was very amazed by the little amount of sustainability in the building and construction sector, and the willingness to change it. Because the thing is, people always work like that, and they want to work like that in the next couple of decades. And I was wondering, but how is it possible that we don't make the most sustainable new constructions that we can do because of the world that is changing? So I was very much amazed by how it worked, and I saw a lot of opportunities. So I personally believe that the world can be so much nicer and more sustainable if we manage to work together, and work more from within values instead of only from within money. So that was what I was wondering about when I was studying. I think it was almost 20 years ago that I got my degree there. And I'm still wondering, because I think in the building and construction sector, and maybe more broad than only that sector, that we can do so much more. We've got so much intelligence. We've got so many ideas that we really need to change the way we're working. And we need to work together to change to a more sustainable future.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It was quite similar for me, in the sense that I also had an idea that things could be much more circular and much more environmentally friendly during my studies. But then, what made you, or maybe a better question to ask is, when you had those convictions during your studies in Delft, um, did you first go and experience the construction environment as it is today in a practical sense, or did you start Copper8 immediately, or how did you start implementing those convictions?
No, first of all, I started to look in a different way when I was doing my final thesis. But after when I finished that, I started the real work in a normal environment, just to see, okay, what I learned and what I saw during my studies, is it really true? And if you want to change something, you need to understand what you need to change. So I first of all started in just a normal construction industry. And it was 12 and a half years ago that I co-founded Copper8. So before that, I had 7.5 years of experience in the more traditional consultancy and construction firm.
Okay. And in those years that you worked at the more traditional construction firms, you also noticed that there was room for improvement. How should I put it?
Yeah, definitely. And it drew a lot of attention from my brains just to see all the things that were going wrong in my sense, in my point of view. And it was a lot of energy that was lost, not only within me, but also within my colleagues. I managed to let them see that it could be different as well. And that's what I really looked at. And I think that helped to change the way people are working together. So I put on the effort, but it also gave me some energy back as well to change it.
Okay. And then you started Copper8. I understand that it's a very value-driven organization. You also mentioned a couple of minutes ago that was the main point that you wanted to change, a focus from money more to values. How did you make that a part of the organization, and how does it impact the work that you do with Copper8?
I think it impacts everything I do every day. For every client and every question we get, we first of all estimate the impact we can make within the project. So to make a better environment, to make a better world. And then we have a look at the client as well. Is it a person or an organization that really wants to change? But because we believe we need to change, we need to reorganize the system. And then we talk together with a couple of people from within the company to see, okay, is this the project that we want to put our time and effort in? And if that is the case, then we can talk about the money. So the money is always the last part we talk about. First of all, it's the impact, it's the value, it's the energy. And then afterwards, it's the money. So that's how we look at the values. That does it bring enough value for the world around us?
Okay. So when a client comes to Copper8 with a project, you first screen it to see if you can make enough impact.
Yeah, we first of all have to pitch it within our own company. So it's on the Wednesday morning, and we have 45 minutes. Everybody can pitch their new potential project or client, and then we have a discussion about, is it the real project we want to do? Is it really Copper8?
Wow. So that means you always have significantly more demand than amount of time you have to tackle the project.
Yeah, in the sense that we're not here to make a lot of profit. So if you're a profit-driven company, then you could always say, no, you don't have the money, or you need to do all the projects because you want to make the profit. We want to make impact. And then we say, okay, we do have time to do this project. And maybe it's not the profit part, but it's the impact part. So we have more demand for the time we want to spend on impact. But it's not about the profit that really leads us. So it's a different way of thinking about, can we do all the projects or not?
Yeah, it's interesting. And how does that stand in contrast with growing the organization? Because you could say that if you would do all the projects and you would make more turnover and a little bit more profit, you could hire more people and you could make even more impact. Or am I looking at that from the wrong perspective?
Now, when we started the company, we talked to each other and we said, okay, we believe in degrowth, or not so we say the max of consultants we want to have is 15. So we don't have the growth ambition, because with 15 people, you don't have all the managers and all the people around that are not working on the impact part. They need to do a lot of other stuff. So we have told each other, okay, we want to be at the max of 15. So we don't need to grow.
Max 50 people.
15.
15, 1-5.
Yeah, 1-5.
Okay. Whoa. That's interesting. And how long has it that been the case? How long have you been with 15 people?
Only for 2 months now.
Okay.
So
And
in the
you,
last 12 years, it went up and it went down and went up and went down. And yeah, at the moment we're with 15.
okay. And these projects that are getting pitched every week, they are mostly you're active in construction, but it can be broader as well.
Yeah, definitely. My focus is on the construction industry, but we are absolutely broader than. So it's the financial sector. It's a lot of construction as well, but the plastics. It's very broad. Everything that's within the how do you call it, the making industry that you can with all the products. So it's not the insurance part or that kind of stuff. It's always within plastics or economics or the construction industry.
Okay. And can you say a little bit more about if you have discussed the different projects and you've screened the project and you start working on it? How do you create the value, the environmental value for the client with the organization? How does that work, that process?
It can be from different perspectives. So we can do that on the broad company footprint. So if you look at the footprint that the company has, where can they do things better or have less impact? So we do the impact studies, and then we have the advice about, okay, what can you do better? What can you do less? It's also in the construction industry. How can you set the question within the construction sector? So if you have a client that wants to make a new building, how can you set a question that it will be a really innovative, sustainable building? And on the other part, how can the clients make those buildings that can be really sustainable? So it is within different projects, different roles, and different organizations. So it's not one focus that we have for all the projects.
Okay. Can you maybe share a project that was really like a turning point for you or for Copper8? A project that you really say that really highlights the value that we can deliver or the impact we can have?
I think it's pretty hard to say if it's one project, because it's not. I don't think it's one particular project, but it's the succession of all the subsequent projects and research projects that are making the turning points all the time. So we do the real projects, but besides that, we also do our own research projects. So if we see a really wicked problem within a system, then we take it out of there and we try to solve it within a research project, and then we bring it back into another project. So it's always going further and further and further. So one project is the start of another project, and then it will be another project as well. So it's not one project that's really, really made a big change, I think, unless we do have projects that were really cool. To a research project that was about the carbon footprint of the Netherlands. What is the carbon footprint of the Netherlands, and how can we diminish it? But also in the construction sector. So everybody's talking about it. Okay, we've got such a big footprint. How can we make it smaller? So it really turned the construction sector into a dialogue that has never been there before. So that's pretty cool that the research was turning that question in there.
Okay. Interesting. So if I understand correctly, a project gets presented, you withhold it, you start working on it, you see a certain big challenging research question, and you subtract it out of the case and you start working on it separately.
Yeah, and that's not with all the projects we do, because some projects are just running. They just go there and they don't have a really with the problem. But within the consultancy sector, it was already 15 years ago that I was talking about circular buildings, and everybody's like, oh, circular. What does it mean, circular? So the last 6 years, we've been working on a methodology. How can you organize circular buildings? What's the language? What are the indicators? So that's a project we took out of there to make it a research. How can we organize the construction sector to be more circular? And that's the same with the plastic sector. It's a really big sector, but the circular plastics is not working. It's not going where we want it to go. So then we take it out of there and we find some founding partners to fund the research, and then we take it out of there.
And then it becomes like a spin-off, or it's just...
No, it's just I mean, from the January 1st this year, we started next to the consultancy firm, we started a research firm as well. So then it's taken out of the consultancy firm to the research firm, but it's the same colleagues that were working in both of the two firms. So it is working together.
Okay, interesting. Can you say a little bit more about those? How do you call them? Like founding partners? If you get one of these research questions?
Yeah, it's founding or funding partners. I mean, we are looking within the Netherlands, which parties are the stakeholders of this problem, or have something to do if there's a good resolution that can manage them to make it bigger or whatever. So we're pinpointing them and then go and talk over there. Okay, we're Copper8 and we want to do this research. Do you think it's a good research and do you want to fund it?
Okay. And is there an economic model for the funding partners? Or is it more like NGO kind of?
Yeah, it's more like NGO.
Okay.
Yeah. But also, there are also the commercial parties that think, okay, if we can have a breakthrough through this research, then we can really spin off, or go faster.
Okay. It's very interesting when I hear you explain what you do at Copper8. It's quite how do you say it? It's not the regular type or the regular way of doing business.
Not at all.
No. Where does the ideas come from to organize it in this way?
I think for a big part, it's also my co-founder, Cecile van Oppe. She's always thinking about what will there be the next 3 to 5 years. She's always looking further, and yeah, she really likes research, but not in a way research is done. It's only for the researchers, but really make it practical. And I think that we really found a connection there. That I want to do things that are in projects and practicals. He wants to do research, but we want to do it together because then we can really accelerate. So I think it's the passion and the fascination. How can we accelerate everything that's already there? It's already in the mind of people. It's already in everybody knows how a really sustainable world needs to look like, but we're catched in the wrong, in the system we're in right now, and we want to change the system. So then research and projects need to go together to accelerate it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about a fascination.
It's about?
A fascination.
Okay. Yeah. So if I understand, you really want to bring forward the sustainable economy, the sustainable environment that's already here, that people already know how to do, but we're just not doing it, right?
Yeah, I think it was in the past that we really knew how it was not to buy all the stuff we don't need, and don't travel the world where we can have our own holiday within a couple of minutes or hours. So I think we lost the feeling about how the world was and how it can be.
Okay. Can you say a little bit more about that?
I think if you look at the past, we didn't have all the features we have right now, and everything is within a minute away. You can have your phone, you can have your we can have a talk, you in Antwerp, and I'm sitting here in Amsterdam, or in Italy, like the background looks like. I think everything is possible and everything is really easy. And what if we think about something that we don't need anymore? There's a lot of impact on all the products that we buy, that we use, that we throw away, and we don't even need them. So why do we buy them? And that needs to be a shift within the people to make that.
How do you bring systemic change from a consultancy perspective?
Sometimes it's hard because you're on the sideline and telling stakeholders, okay, you need to change your system, but I'm just a coach. But sometimes you can really get into a person and have to talk about, okay, if you change yourself and the way you look at your stakeholders or your partners in the system, what can you change to vary the look you have on your stakeholder, because everybody's catched in their own perspective. And I think if we want to make a change in the system, you need to also look at your own perspective. And we try to give people and organization that perspective, just to look from another part of view, and then look at the other stakeholder and say, okay, if you talk that way, then maybe you can find each other and work together instead of work against each other. So it's more on coaching. And also, I think 12 years ago, we were like a priest. Okay, circular economy is like everybody wants. And now it's like, okay, people say, okay, I think I get the idea, but now I want the numbers. So we're on the coach on the sideline, giving them numbers, telling them you could go right, you could go left, and this is the result or this is the action. And then we let people choose their own way to find and experience what a system can change.
Mm-hmm.
So we're more like a coach on that part.
Okay. Is it easy to make to make it concrete, to give these figures?
That's a good one. Yeah, in a way that we can make figures out of all the numbers there are. I mean, if you go to ChatGPT and you want a number or you want a figure, it can be made. The big discussion is about where do the numbers come from and what do they tell you? I mean, I can have a lot of numbers from the history, but we need to look at the future. And that's where the big part of the numbers come. Okay, what do you think the number should look like? Is it a 9 or a 6? Just turn it around. And that's the talk you have with each other. Do you want to be at a 6 or do you want to be at a 9? Can we go left or can we go right? So it's about future design. You tell them about, okay, these are the numbers. This is how it can look like. And now we take it to today. What do we want to do? And we can just, in a month, we can have a look. Did it go the right way or not? In 2 months, in 3 months. So we just have to start. I think that's the best part. And that's the biggest thing we have to do. Don't look and try to make the perfect Excel with all the numbers. Make a viable number and then start and just think over and over and over again. If you're doing it, look at the numbers and see if it's going the right way.
Does it also depend on the ambition level of the client?
That is where the pitch comes from. If the ambition level is not high enough from the standard Copper8 point of view, then we don't do the project. So it needs to be a really high ambition level.
So then we're back to the Wednesday morning meetings.
Yep.
Okay.
We're talking in circles as well.
Yeah. Do you run into certain misconceptions that people have about sustainability or circular economy, circular construction, or like elements that always keep coming back?
Yeah, and the more in the most basic way, people say circular economy is about waste. If we use waste in another way, then we have a circular economy. And that is primarily true. But it's not only about the reuse of materials. If you really take the word circular, then it is about materials. But if you take the word economy, then it is about our financial system. So it is the combination of how we can make other financial models within and without the materials we use. And I think that's the big change we need to make from a linear economy to a circular economy, that materials are already for a really big part out of the earth and we can reuse them again. But also it's not only about the financials, it's also about the values for biodiversity, for CO2, for water use. It's broader than only materials.
Mm-hmm. Can you give a great example where the financial impact went very well in line with the environmental impact, where a certain model just clicked?
We are working on a model now about the valuation of circular buildings, because at the moment, circular buildings do have a higher investment upfront than a linear building, because all the materials and the way it is produced and it is made. But if you have a look at the values that are within a circular building, we believe we need to make sure that it does have a higher economic value after a couple of years. It's got more social value, but also the values for my health. Because when you use natural materials, it's much healthier than all the stuff we put in there right now. So it's also, so we're looking at what are the more broad values, and then you've got the values for biodiversity and CO2 as well. What are more values than only the financial ones over 30 years? And I think if we can crack the nut, or we find the golden bullet for that one, then we really make a change within a building and construction industry. Because first of all, it is about the numbers. If the spreadsheet is not working, then we don't make the circular building. So I think that is the whole process we need to do with a lot of other industries as well. What is the total value of a product, and not only the financial value or cost?
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, we are confronted with this a lot. So with our solution, with our SAM, we make a quote to deliver all the cabinets, kitchen, bathroom, heating, ventilation elements of a home. And at the bottom, we say what the value is of the materials when you disassemble them and bring them back to us after first use.
Yeah.
Because with our solution, we design it in such a way that you can fully disassemble it and reuse it or bring it back to us, and then we can reuse it. And today it's at the bottom of our quotes. It says this amount of
refund
refund or material value is in your purchase.
Yeah.
But as you say, today the developers that we talk to, they can't put that value in their spreadsheet.
Nope.
And if they would be able to put it in the spreadsheet, and would then be able to go to the bank and would say, look, we work with a SAM from Bao instead of the traditional way of gluing everything together. We have a higher remaining value, but it's not there.
No.
So, yeah, how would you, from your experience? I mean, it's great that you're working on a model that could change this, but it needs to go through the entire value chain from bank to construction, to developer, to constructor, to architect, to the inhabitants. So how do you look at that? If you
we're working now, especially with valuators, because if they evaluate these values, then it can be put in the spreadsheet up front, because there will be a value at the end. So we're working with the valuators and the banks to see if they want to, and if they can make this work, then the developer will say, okay, then I can do it. So we first start with the financial parties.
Yes, makes sense. Yeah. And this is a type of project is this a research project for you guys?
Yep.
And this is not a paying customer?
No, not one paying customer. We did have some money to do the first steps, and now we're looking for the refund or the funding for a bigger part of the research. And but we're just doing the research already.
If that works, it's a game changer. Yeah. And for this to continue this research, you would look for one of these founding parties or investors.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. Are there tools, models, methods that help you or the organization throughout all this work? Are there like top 3 tools that you use mostly to in this line of work or in working with the customer?
Yeah, I think I always work with, it's a way of thinking and working, a pyramid principle. What's the main focus? And then you cascade it on what are the principles therein. Also, I think I've got a really big fascination about design thinking and future design. How will it look like, the near future or the further future, and how can we take it back to today? But above all, I think it is my gut feeling, and I don't need all the models. So I just feel about, okay, do we go left? And we just try to go left, and then we see how it works. And I think 99% of the times it works. Just think about, or feel about, okay, what feels the best way? And then we go there and we just try to do it. So it's not a lot of all the models and all the methods. I just think about doing and then organizing everything and saying, okay, this works.
Mm-hmm. Better to act quickly than to overthink it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
And have a lot of cups of coffee with people that are in the field and just hearing about, what do you think if I put this question into your head? What do you think about it? What do we need to go left or right? And just feel and hear everything what people are thinking about, and then take my own route.
Mm-hmm. You've been active in the industry now for 20 years?
Yep.
Did you say?
Yep.
Have you noticed a shift in mindset from the industry, from your customers? Is it increasing in speed? Is the market becoming more aware about the necessity of circularity and environmental impact?
Yeah, I really think it is. 20 years ago or 15 years ago, people didn't know anything about circular economy or circular buildings. So I think that the word has landed. People are talking about it. People are saying the benefits of it, and are thinking about how can I do it or what can I do. But I also say that it's my bubble. I know that inside my bubble, I work with parties and companies that are really willing to work on circular buildings, circular construction industry, or broad circular economy. And we don't work with companies that are not interested in circular economy. So within the bubble, things are changing, things are moving. What I told before, people are saying, okay, I know I want to do it or need to do it. Give me the numbers. Where do I need to go to? So it's getting more and more discussed and more built the way it is. But it's also that the CSRD was changing things, and now it is on a pause, or it's not going that fast anymore. And some of the companies are saying, okay, we know now what we need to do, and we really want to just stay doing it, because for us it's a new way of thinking and working. And other companies like, okay, we don't need it to do it anymore, we just quit it. So there you do have two ways of parties working on it.
So the legislation does play a big role in.
Definitely. Definitely. Yeah.
Can you understand why it's being paused?
Yeah, it's about lobby and unknown. I think we know where we come from. We know that the buildings are the way they are. They are good. Everybody likes it, and everybody wants to live in it, work in it, or whatever. And with the new way of construction and building, people don't know it already. So everybody's like, oh, it's in wood. Oh, I don't want to be in wood because then we get fires. And it's like, oh my God, that's so not true, because it was already in the decades ago that people were living in wooden houses and everything was perfect. So yeah, I think with the way people are thinking and working, we always have this, that if you want to change something, you need to have a really long breath. And sometimes it goes up and then it goes down again and then it goes all the way up. And I'm wishing that the way up is now coming.
Mm-hmm. Are there any specific people who have really influenced your views on sustainability?
I don't see one particular one, but what I mentioned before, I'm really proud, and I really look forward working with my co-founder, Sil. She always inspires me. Then she's reading a lot, and she's always thinking about 3 years, 5 years, or maybe 10 years. And then she says, okay, I think that we should do this and this, or this and that. And I'm like, huh? Where does that come from? Yeah, I just feel like we need to go left. Okay. So it's really inspiring how she looks at the world and takes everything into notice.
Okay. All right, then I think we are getting towards the end of the conversation. No, are there, if people are listening to this and they think, okay, this sounds very interesting, what's the best way for them to reach out? When should they reach out? When are they the right case for the Wednesday morning pitch sessions?
There are a lot of questions. You can always reach out to me on my email address, noor@copper8.com. And I think the website is there as well, copper8.com. I'm always looking forward in meeting people and talking about ideas or projects. So reach out to me if you really think that you want to discuss something that can change the way people are looking and thinking on problems, especially in the industry that is making products. So it could be the building and construction industry, it can be electronics, it can be everything where materials are going around. And what I want to say to people as well, if you listen to this story and you say, oh, wow, it sounds interesting, and you do have your own company, just ask yourself the question, what is enough? How many people, how many profit, how many turnover? I mean, if we can think about what is enough, then we can really change something. So for us, it's 15 people.
And how did you land on the 15 people figure?
It was Cecile who told me that she read about all the articles and all the methods that we should quit our company after 7 years, because that was normally the lifetime of companies. We didn't do that one, but the other one was 15 people, and otherwise you need. And we experienced it. We were working in a consultancy firm before together, and there was 15 when I came in, and then it went to 30, 45, and it really changed. Everything changed. And we needed to do projects we didn't want to do, but we need to do it because we needed to make money and to take everybody into projects. So we really experienced the difference between 15 and 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, things become, I can imagine, less personal. Maybe from a certain, I also can imagine from 30, 40, 50 people, you no longer can interact with everyone every week, and then maybe not even every month, and it becomes more abstract or something.
Yeah, and in a consultancy firm, the only way you can steer the company is to say how much work everybody needs to do. And now you can have the discussion about, is it paid work or is it research work? And how much can I do? How much can you do? So it's a different way of talking to each other, because money is not the only way that you can make appointments to each other.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. So we have the habit to ask one or two slightly more personal questions at the end of a podcast. These are usually the same two questions. The first one being, if you could have a dinner or a glass of wine or just a coffee with someone, dead or alive, who would it be?
I think when I was a really small kid, I saw a movie about Mahatma Gandhi and how he was changing or making a revolution with an nonviolent way of talking and taking all the people with him. I think it could be very interesting to have a chat with him and say, how can we make the circular transition in an nonviolent way, and just go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Fascinating guy. I've heard about him quite a lot as well throughout the years. He was quite a unique person.
Definitely.
And then last question we usually ask, is there a book or something you read or seen recently that you would recommend to the audience?
I've seen a really good documentary from Attenborough or from the Planetary Boundaries. Don't look it before you go to sleep, because it's not very depressing, but a little bit. And I think it's interesting that we can have another way of looking at the world, how much it can bring and how much we already lost. But I think we can also revive it again if we just change the way we're looking at nature and see ourselves within the nature.
Mm-hmm. And where can people find that?
Netflix.
Okay. Awesome. Then, Noor, I think I would like to thank you very much for this inspiring conversation. I find it really interesting the different perspective that you are using to run the organization, not only to run the organization but also to do the work that you guys do at Copper8. So thank you very much for your time and for explaining this to our listeners.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for the introduction and the nice conversation as well.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Bao Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe to our channel. If you're interested in Bao Living and our Smart Adaptable Module or SAM, go check out our website baoliving.com. If you want to stay up to date, you can best subscribe to our monthly newsletter on our website or follow us on all social media platforms where we're named @Bao Living.